Namaste, everyone. This is going to be our gentle and restorative practice for this week. And I'm taking a little inspiration from a lunch date that I had yesterday. There's this student of mine, Needy, who is from India, and she moved to Franklin about 2 years ago. And it was right after the pandemic. And she is the first generation from her family to come to the United States, and of all places to land in Franklin, Tennessee. But she was telling me yesterday while we met for lunch that, she came over to the US without family, without friends, with no network, just she and her husband. He had landed a job. They had no car even to drive. And they arrived in wintertime. And, wintertime, especially here in the South, it gets dark super early, like at 4:30 or something ridiculous, in the afternoon. And that caused her to go into some depression because, no network, no friends, no family, no car to get around. During the pandemic timeframe when there's still isolation and things aren't fully operational again, and landing here in wintertime when it's mostly dark through the day. So not only did she land in depression, but she started discovering all this great food we have in the United States, like potato chips and fast food and all the junk that we have. And that caused her not only to gain weight, but it caused her to get really sick. And I mean, this is a young girl, or a young lady, I should say, mid-20s. So she went to the doctor, and the doctor was going to have to put her on medication. And thankfully, she had enough wisdom inside her body to say she wasn't going to accept that. She wasn't going to take medication because her body was sick. She knew that she could take some control over her life and that she could try to change and turn some of this around. And that's exactly what she did. Once they got a car, she discovered the yoga studio. She started practicing yoga. She found a meditation class that she could take and started doing things to better her mind as well. And she got into art. And she told me that she got into art because she was before she could drive and didn't have a car, she was walking to all the stores in like the Cool Springs area, specifically Michael's. Now, Michael's is that kind of arts and crafts store. And she does these beautiful mandala designs, and she's just very artsy. And that wasn't her degree in school. It wasn't really part of her background, but this is something that she has discovered through her own self-healing. Anyway, she's getting ready to move this week. That's why we had lunch together. She's moving up to the Philly area. But this morning, I was kind of reminiscing on that lunch date yesterday, and I saw this quote, and I thought it tied in perfectly, to what she was saying and really demonstrating through the power of choice. This says, life is inherently simple, but our minds are what creates the complication. Since we mostly perceive life through the mind, we come to think that life is really complex. But if we can calm the mind gradually, and if we can relish the ease that life can actually bring, this is the essence of yoga. And this is the essence of Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means calming the fluctuations of the mind, as well as calming the inner storms of emotion. So I just think this young lady is just so brave and has so much courage to leave her land, to leave her home, to leave her family, and to come over here to start a new life. But also her commitment to her own health, her commitment to her roots and her culture, and to know that yoga can help her to overcome what she was experiencing. So hopefully that story inspires you. We are going to use several different props. I'll go ahead and tell you, if you do not have two bolsters, I don't know if you can see, I have two bolsters here. If you do not have two bolsters, please run and go get two pillows. Now, you may have something in the room, like two toss pillows, or you might be in your bedroom that has an actual bed pillow. But grab one or two of those so that you can have it as a complement to the bolster for one of our positions today, and I'll meet you on the mat. So the first thing we're going to do is just find a comfortable seat. We're also going to be using a chair today. It doesn't matter what type of chair. And when you come down to sit, rest your hands on your lap. Close the lids of your eyes. Take a moment just to align your spine, to develop some better posture, but also to really root and ground down in your seat. And immediately start your breath work. Perhaps breathing in a deep diaphragmatic way. Just taking a few more before we begin to operate the body. Now open up your eyelids and stack your fingertips beside your hips. And on your inhale, lift your left arm skyward. I may not be mirroring you. Exhale, slide your right hand over to the side. That way we're taking a side bend, but we're going to take it a little bit deeper than this. We're going to cup the back side of the head with the hand, and we're going to roll the heart up towards the sky. Gazing up with the eyes, feeling in this little bit of a twist through the back. And on your next inhale, lift that left arm, build yourself back to center, but you're gonna thread it behind your back. And then you're gonna lower your right ear down towards your right shoulder. You're gonna pick up your right hand and you're just gonna lightly stack it on top of your head. So please don't pull or yank with your arm. Just that light weight of the hand is enough to deepen the stretch in your neck. And then land the right hand down as you pick the head up and release the left. All right, second side. Inhale, right arm is rising up, and then slide the left hand over. Take the side bend and breathe. Affirming strength and courage is filling up my body cells. And then cup the back side of your head with your hand. Slowly roll open through your chest. And on your next inhale, relift the right hand, build back to center. But as you exhale, thread that arm behind the back and lower the left ear towards the left shoulder. As you inhale, pick up the left hand, rest it lightly at the top of the head. Again, please do not yank, please do not pull. That little weight is enough. And release your hand down, lift the head up, and free up your right. Now find a block. And you may not even need a block if you can sit comfortably on your heels. But if you need the block to sit on, put it between your feet. And build your hands to prayer position at your heart. As you inhale, we're going to lift to standing Vajrasana, arms reaching up. And as we exhale, we're going to twist to the right. Now stay here. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lean back. Inhale, drive forward. Exhale, lean back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. And exhale, back. Good. Inhale, turn to face the front and lift the arms overhead. And then exhale, slow motion as you bring the hands together and sit back down to your feet or block. Inhale, circling the arms up. Exhale, slow motion as you sit back down. This is some sneaky quad work. Inhaling. And exhaling back down. All right, now we're going to take that twist to the left. So inhale, coming to standing Vajrasana. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, be here. Exhale, slide back. Inhale, draw forward. Exhale, slide back. Continue this a few more rounds. This time, bring that left arm back up, face the front of your mat. Exhale, hands together, slow descent, back down to the feet or block. 2 more of those. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, sitting back down. Inhaling up. Exhale, back down. Good. Now shift forward to tabletop position. And it's okay if the block stays there for now, because it's just in between your calves. It's really not going to be in the way. Ground your palms, spread out your fingertips, middle finger point straight ahead. On your next in-breath, lengthen your right leg back behind, turn your toes down. Really push through the right hand and left foot, and sail the left arm forward and out. Seabird or spinal balance. Exhale, lower your left hand. Keep your right leg up. Spin open from your hip. Keep grounding your left limbs. Whew, and take the right arm overhead. Now really fire into your right leg with all your strength and might. Exhale, lower the right hand and descend your right knee. All right, second side. Pull the belly in, strong tabletop position to shoot your left leg back. Toes turn down. Push down a little heavier through your left hand and send your right arm forward and out. Find a drishti point with your eyes and breathe. And I'm going to give you a little trick to help you with balance that I didn't say before. And we should have implemented it because I had a little trouble myself. So if you set your right hand down and slightly turn your right foot back towards the side strip of your mat or beyond, that will give you more balance as you roll open. And of course, sail your left hand skyward. A lot of energy and might into that left leg. Stay established within yourself. And the breath will help to anchor you in. Exhale, lower the left hand and knee. Curl the toes, pop up to downward facing dog. Now from your downward facing dog, and your hands are spread shoulder distance apart, your feet at least hip distance apart, you're going to walk your hands back And if that block is still there and you need it, you can turn it up. Maybe you want to set your hands on it to modify. Maybe you want to stack one or two blocks together to let your head rest on and let your arms be free. You're making it a little restorative. Now we're not going to hold it for 10 or 15 minutes like we would a restorative pose. But it is nice sometimes to bring in some support to poses that we typically don't use support in. Let's hold a few more breaths. Affirming as you hold, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. Not even my own self. So I love that story of Nita. She gained her own power back. She didn't want to be on meds when she could reverse the symptoms. And she did. All right, let's go ahead and slowly come up. Separate the blocks. Come down gently to your knees. And we're going to set up for our first restorative pose. So we're going to create a slide with the blocks. And if you want it to be taller, have the first block on its tall height, the second one on its middle height. And if you want to make it smaller, medium, and the lowest height. So you could do either one. Once you have the slide, this is where your toss pillows, pillow from your bed or a second bolster, doesn't matter if it's square or round, it's going to come underneath your knees. And make sure you're sitting back towards the slide so that you can roll back. This is one of my favorite restorative poses. Your hands really can do anything. Palms down, palms open. Beside you, on top of you. But I suggest closing the eyes or using a towel or eye pillow. Now I just want you to work on slowing down your breath, which will slow down the mind. Mind slows, we're not as invested in what's happening upstairs, and we can go downstairs into the heart. People often say the kitchen is like the heart of the home. Well, think about your heart center as being the real home in your body. Start to deepen the flow of breath. And as you're deepening the flow of the breath, be in the question of how long it took for you to finally get your mind simmered down enough to relax. Was it as quickly or 1 or 2 minutes? Take as long as 5 or more. Begin to crack the eyelids open. Push down through your palms, lift your head up, and use your upper body strength to come out. We're going to move that bolster to the side a moment. And we're going to come up to use the chair. The first thing I want you to do is stand next to it so that you can prop one foot up and then turn the toes away from your body. Try to stack this leg that you're standing on, the hip bone to the knee bone to the ankle bone. So it's like our Padangusthasana B. That we're using the prop. And this way we're focused more on the opening we're gaining here, the alignment here and in spine, and not worried as much about balance. Now, if you happen to have 2 chairs sitting next to each other, you don't have to really move your body much, but if you've got 1 chair, you'll step the foot down, move to the other side, and prop the other foot up. But because this is so convenient, I'm just going to go to the other one. And just noticing again what gets affected, because yes, it could be the adductor muscles, the inner thighs, it could be in the hip socket, it could very well be behind you in the glutes. Because when we open up the hip, it's also engaging part of the buttocks. You ready? Step it down, and we're going to sit at the edge of the chair. So right at the edge, heel, toe, the feet apart. And you're going to lean forward, and you're trying to keep your trunk right in the middle. We've done this freestyle before, but never from a chair. Again, I may not be mirroring you. The left hand's going to cross over to the right knee. Now notice I didn't move my trunk, only my hand. In other words, I'm not moving my upper body towards the right knee. I'm still keeping it centered between the legs. But that right arm will now wrap behind the back. And again, you are leaning forward with your torso. Release that bind behind your back and come back to sit upright. All right, now lean forward again. Hopefully, I've been seeing a lot of mistakes when we do this freestyle, so this will be a nice slow down and to focus a little bit more on details. Right hand's gonna grab a hold of that left knee. Again, we're not pulling with the arm, we're staying here, but the left arm is gonna thread behind the back. And of course, you can turn your head to look left. You can even gaze over that back shoulder. And release. Now we're going to lean forward to stack the hands to the ground. And if you're about to slip off, just move the buttocks back in your seat a little bit. And if you have been going through a period of getting vertigo, I wouldn't recommend doing anything else. That way the head's staying more in line with the heart. But if you're not having blood pressure issues, if you haven't had any thing like dental surgery or eye surgery or anything of that nature, go ahead and bend the elbows and let your face fall gently. So you're getting an inversion while you're maintaining the squat. The thighs are still rolling apart, the toes are still turned out. Just letting go in the upper body. Inhale, lift your head up, walk your hands forward. Those of you that may have stayed here, we're just joining you to even out our blood flow. And then everyone prop your hands onto your knees. And then that way you can slowly come up. Once you come up, your feet are gonna come back together, toes pointed forward, but you're gonna collapse back in the chair or lean back in order to pick up that right ankle, cross it over the left knee. And you have a choice just to be here, sitting straight, or you can hinge and fold for a deeper stretch. If this knee gives you any grief, cup under it, give it a little elevation, and that usually helps. Inhale, come up. Exhale, lean back to drop that foot, to pick up the other, to stack it, and then sit straight up again. Exhale, hinge forward. Again, be mindful of the knee if it needs to be catered to. Inhale, return. Exhale, slouch back. Sink that foot down to the floor and sit right back up. All right, you're going to try to keep the spine extended, but you're going to inhale, lift your right leg forward and out. Point the foot. Flex the ankle. Point the foot. Flex the ankle. One more. Pointing and flexing. Now hold 3 breaths. Notice if you're starting to collapse your upper body, and make sure you're lifting through your head and heart, and let that go. Okay, inhale, extend your left leg out. And what you're trying to ideally do, it doesn't have to be precise, but you're trying to keep your thighs and knees somewhat parallel. And then we'll point and flex. Point and flex. And one more. Point and flex. I'll try to hold it, but keeping the spine held up. Breathe, breathe, breathe. I know it can get difficult. Who knew chair yoga could get difficult? And then lower the left foot. All right, now we're going to slink on down to the floor. We're going to lay on the back, and we're going to use, now of course you can use Stonehenge, right? You can use your props if you want to use that instead. Or let your knees come to, hi Paris. Calves sitting on top. And then your arms can be beside you, on top of you, whatever the shoulders need today. If you have that towel or eye pillow, this is our second restorative pose. And you're welcome to bring all the additives back in, even a blanket if you're feeling chilled, to maintain some warmth. your breath. Drop you out of your mind into your heart. Remembering it's our perception that often makes life more distorted than it should be. Let's slide the left foot towards our bodies and stop at any degree you need to. Don't feel like your foot has to reside at the front of the bolster or chair necessarily. Now soar that left leg up in the air, similar to what we did when we were sitting, when we extended the leg out, but instead of pointing and flexing the foot, we're rotating the ankle, circling it around and around, and then reversing the flow eventually. And then lay the whole calf back to the prop, and then inhale. Slide your right foot closer to you so that knees kind of cranking in towards the chest, but we're not using the arms to pull. Inhale, fly the right foot in the air. And then start to rotate the ankle. Reversing eventually. Now lift both legs up. So you're in this simple version of waterfall. Body making a 90-degree angle. And then separate the feet wide. Konasana. From the supine position. Let's just hold it 5 breaths. On 1. On 2. On 3. On 4. On 5. Ooh, my legs are shaking. Let's bring the legs back together. And then let's roll away to one side. I had someone come join me. Now, when you come up to take a seat, separate, or not separate, bring your feet together. Separate your thighs and knees. Open out your feet like a book and start to hinge forward from your hips. Now, if you want to make this restorative too, you could always grab, one of your props and kind of rest your arms on, or rest in prayer hands. And sometimes we even turn that bolster up and put underneath the head. Also do that. Same with the chair. You can lean forward and prop the arms and head and rest on the seat. affirming here as you hold, secure in myself, I accept whatever is. Secure in myself, I accept whatever is. Coming back to that quote we started with, life is inherently simple, but our minds are what make it complicated. Since we mostly perceive life through the mind, we come to think that life is very complex. But if we calm down the mind gradually and relish the ease of the flow of life, this is the essence of yoga. Lift our way out of that position. And maybe your slide is still there. If it's not, build it back up. If it's there, really only have to move towards it. And our final restorative pose, we're going to send the legs up for some elevation so that we have a little inversion for our Shavasana today. Because inversions are quite calming for the mind. It can take us towards that state of tranquility. In that state of tranquility, we're more content and at peace. The whole point of this practice is to reduce our suffering, to allow us to reclaim that peace. And when we experience that peace, we know that we have reconnected to God, to Source, to the divine. Let's attempt to do that here now. Affirming bones, muscles, movement. I surrender now. Anxiety, elation, depression, any and all turning thoughts, I'm now going to hand over to the hands of peace. Peace, be still. Be still and know that I am. If you can, put your arms in the winged or goddess arm position. Notice how that changes up the energy flow to the chest. And just start to open up your breath. Your next exhale, however, curl your knees in, wrap your arms around, and be here for a few rounds of breath. Lower off to one side of your body, pressing yourself up to sit, joining your hands together to prayer. We all remember the importance of not staying in our head and letting our thoughts go wild. Remembering the importance of slowing down and calming the mind down. If you entered into that state of yoga, if you are feeling those remnants of peace, then please carry this with you beyond the mat today. Namaste.